place.
Yep.
Like, this man has...
When Sparkle said that, I don't want to call her a bitch. When Sparkle said that chick was knocking on the door to ask if she could come out and get something to eat, and they were sitting on the couch watching the motherfucking NBA finals, I said...
His wife, not one of his victims. Well, his wife was a victim.
She was a victim,
but she was his wife.
Yeah, his wife.
She was his wife, and she could not stand in the role of wife.
Nope. She had to ask permission.
But to me,
you're right, Ebony. Ebony said,
to me, these women
said they weren't about to stop the gravy train. She right.
That's just what I was about to say.
Mimi said it started with slavery when families were broken apart and slave masters kicked. Yep, there you go. Yep. Yeah,
but we can't blame slavery for everything. We gotta take responsibility.
It's not about blaming slavery, but it's about that we can't deny
I agree that
there was an
slavery is a part of our history, and through slavery, the process of the black family breaking down began. I agree 1,000%. But to me, I can't go out here and chop off some man dick and be like, you just remind me of my molester from when I was 3 or from when I was molested by a family member in the 7th grade.
If you was white.
If I was white. But as a black woman, I can't do that. Because if I did, I would be locked up.
But even if we want to bring it forward, all right, so we don't have to go all the way back to slavery.
Right.
Let's bring it forward. The crack epidemic further destroyed
the black family
community and the black family. And once again...
And men just deciding not to be men anymore. Walking out from their families. All aided in the breakdown of the black family.
And once again, we can look at the difference between how America's treated the crack epidemic and how they're now treating the opioid crisis. Notice
it's a crisis because it's the opioids. The opioids affect more white people than black people, so it's a crisis. Of course, but to white people it is because Becky and Johnny keep going out here falling victim to opioids, so it's a problem for them.
Becky and Johnny was fucking crack. Here's the thing, though.
But they weren't breaking up Becky and Johnny's family.
But the mothers and fathers not leaving.
Yeah. I'm just. No,
so okay, but let's get back to Ara. So.
Ara.
In the documentary, so like I was saying, in part 2, we saw the 3 women. So we had the 12-year-old who was Sparkle's niece. Mm-hmm. Now, all right, and again,
who Sparkle is speaking for?
Who she's speaking for, whether she wants it to or not. We have, like I said, the Latino young lady who was in Florida, and then we have the other young lady who.
What's the little girl?
What's her name? Was Lisa?
I can't remember her name. She ran off crying.
We haven't gotten her whole story yet.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. She couldn't finish her story. She couldn't even talk. We didn't get her whole story yet. Yeah, so we didn't get her name yet.
That's episode 3.
Well, tonight they're going to be talking about the sex tape.
Yes, tonight starts the trial stuff.
Because remember, the sex tape was anonymously delivered. So for all we know, somebody who's sitting there did deliver that tape. For all we know.
I thought Sparkle was the one who delivered the tape.
Because all things considered, you had to be
there. I thought in court she said she was the one who delivered it.
I'll get clarification. We're going to find out then. Yeah, tonight. I only saw the preview. In the preview, the DA was saying that they got.
No, I'm just trying to remember from back then.
And maybe, and again, you know how they just show the previews. They may go further to explain because I honestly don't remember from there. I remember Sparkle wanting to testify, and I remember her.
She did testify,
right? And I remember that's how we found out that it was her niece on the tape, and her niece would not testify. I do remember that. Now the other young lady that was in the tape, I don't know if it's the young lady that we saw last night, or if it was a different young lady because it was a threesome.
Yeah, it was the pissing thing was a threesome.
Right.
Oh no, the pissing thing is the Hispanic
thing.
Girl and the 14-year-old.
Is that what it was? Okay, see, I don't remember.
I can't remember
because I never saw the tape.
But I thought it was the Hispanic girl who.
Well, that shouldn't be laughing.
And maybe it's because
shouldn't be laughing.
Oh, you know what? Because
I mean, I said we.
I'm just laughing
because today I was looking at. I looked at the second part again, and then I was looking at the trailer for the new part, and I think it's the Hispanic girl who's with them in the threesome when the pissing stuff is going on.
Okay, all right. And again, I said this in my review because I did do a review last night. Like as soon as I watched it, just off the top of my head.
You woke me up with that.
I wake you up. Ain't my fault.
What?
Because his phone made a noise.
Oh,
he looked at it. It was you.
What?
I did the same thing.
Oh, really?
I was nodding.
Because I saw that shit last night. That thing. The first episode, I was like,
Yeah.
But that
second one, I was like, that's why I had to re-look at it again today.
That thing turned my stomach.
Like,
I just can't believe.
It's like I watched it.
But that just shows you the power of money. Because I can't believe that all these girls allow him, you gotta call me daddy, but you're not my daddy. Why should I have to call you daddy?
Wait. But how much money? You say the parents want this money. I'm like, how much money is money? Like, I have girls.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I have girls.
Exactly.
So I'm like, how much money is that?
Not enough.
That
made you like. I'm trying to understand. Like,
remember. But also,
I don't understand.
Also, though, remember, you guys, and I say remember, I mean in general,
the times
that young girls.
When we were alone. When we first met.
You make me fucking sick. When you made me lose my damn train of thought. Damn you, the girls.
Yep.
These are young, impressionable girls.
Yeah.
A lot of these girls, you notice that you didn't hear none of those girls talk about their father. The
No,
Latino girl didn't talk about her father. The other young lady, she talked about her mom. Both of them talked about their mother. So these were, we've seen it. We went to school with girls like this. I've known, as an educator, I've known girls like this that they are looking for that person. And so they mistake.
You're saying dads are important?
Dads are very important.
So they mistake.
So sorry, we're at that state where I hear girls probably saying you don't need your father. You do need your father. Yes, you need both of your. Both influences are equally as important in your child's upbringing. We got to do better as parents. We got to do better.
But that's the thing with. That's why it pisses me off when I hear people say, "Oh, these girls were fast," or "Oh, they were this over that." No. We all had those girls that we knew, and it might have been us, that we were looking for love. We didn't have it at home, or we didn't get what we thought, or we had this romanticized idea of what love was, or like both of those young ladies admitted, they were drawn to the idea. They were both trying to get into the industry, and R.Kelly promised he would help them, and they thought both of them.
And that was the recurring theme, though. He praised on. Right, he praised on that. Every girl, not one of, even the girls that we know about in today's compound, not one of them has gone to him because they were endeared to the celebrity lifestyle. They really went because they either wanted to be a dancer, they wanted to be a singer, or they wanted to be a rapper. Each one of them came with a goal, and it wasn't to be R. Kelly's sex slave.
And both of them said that they were uncomfortable with the sexual advances, but they didn't know how to stop it. No.
Yep.
And a lot of young ladies, once again, and that's why it pisses me off when I hear people make they defend these fucking rapists and these predators, because a 16-year-old
underage, man.
But it's not even that. A 16-year-old, a 17-year-old does not always have the voice. They don't always know the words.
They don't know how to say no. No. Even though it seems so simple.
A lot of them are
dads. No. When they say no, it's a crime after that.
But what I'm saying is a lot of girls, but you're missing what I'm saying.
That's true,
a lot of girls don't know how to say no, so they didn't say no. In their mind, they were saying no, but they didn't know, or they were afraid to say no, because like the one girl, she said, I knew that I wanted him to help me with my career, but I knew that it was never going to be that once I slept with him, but I didn't know how to stop it. Mm-hmm. So she didn't verbally say no. And at the time, she was 17, so I don't know what the age of consent is in Florida, but it may not have been a crime at that moment in Florida because she was 17, and I don't know what the age of consent is.
I don't know what the
because
age of consent is.
Like in Maryland, the age of consent is 16. So
federally, it's 16.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, in that moment, he may not have necessarily been quote-unquote breaking the law, but that young girl... Wait a minute.
Because he's an adult.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No. When
okay.
Well,
if you're underage, if I'm
but
a 17-year-old,
But the age of consent is 16
if the age
in
of consent
Maryland.
is 16,
so
it doesn't matter.
It's like if I'm under 18.
Some states have that caveat,
but you know what? It's a double
doesn't.
standard because the age of consent is 16. But if you, as a grown man, came onto a 16-year-old, she can then
if you're an adult,
she can then go to the police.
Universally, if you're an adult, if you're over 18, you're an adult. Anybody's under 18.
See, and that's where I think the laws get a little iffy because I know that if you're 16 and a grown man, anyway, sexually,
I sat through many of what do you call it? What is it?
That's what I'm saying. I know that if a grown man
classes or whatever, if you are over 18, if you're a man, you're over 18. If you
but I think that's the federal law.
Anybody under the age of 18. You are a rapist.
That's not true, though.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's just
you might
generally
listen. What I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that's not what you were taught. What I'm saying to you is because again, I've seen in my career now, there are situations where if the child is 17, that man could be 21. If she's over the age of consent, there's nothing the parents can do. There's nothing the police can do. There's nothing the parents can do. She's over the age of consent.
But
or he.
I mean, maybe it's the.
But it is a double standard because I've seen them right here in Maryland take people to court for girls who are 16 and 17. So it is a double standard. And
now there are certain situations there based on your job. Like when I worked at the jail. Like when I worked at the jail,
but this situation doesn't matter because they was all like kids. I'm just saying,
like when I worked at the jail, an inmate
12 years old.
It was all kids, so it doesn't even matter in this situation. It's all kids.
But that's what I'm saying. In the situation with the 17-year-old, she wasn't. That's what I'm saying. So the point I was trying to make, how we got off the tangent, the point I was trying to make was at her being 17 in that moment, based on whatever the age of consent is in Florida, he may not have technically been breaking the law. However, as a 17-year-old, she still didn't have the words or the voice to say, I don't want this to happen. Now, again, the 14-year-old, the 12-year-old, Aaliyah was 15, like all of that, that's a no-brainer. But I'm
Aaliyah was actually younger though.
When they met, he met Aaliyah when she was 13, I think
she was 12 or 13. She was real young when they met. Because by the time they actually got married, she was actually only 15 years old when they got married.
And lied, the paperwork lied said.
But the boy who did it already came forth and said how bad he feel about having the paperwork forged to show that she was 18. But he did it because they thought she was pregnant.
Right.
Either way, it was
all
wrong.
Messed up and
sadly, the statute of limitations has run out. But everyone involved needs to do some jail time.
That's the only reason.
Everyone that's involved needs to do some jail time.
To switch gears a little bit, because we're going to wrap it up in a few minutes. But to switch gears a little bit, so the internet conversations today. I know for myself, I've seen some things on my Facebook. Let me say this. I would say 95 to 98% of what I saw on my Facebook was condemning R.Kelly, was saying that he was all of the things that we said he was. But I did still have that 5 to 7% of people who were not defending him, but what about those girls were fast? What about the parents? I still want to buy his music. He's a musical genius. I'm going to separate the man from the...
But you know what? Until your daughter, your sister, your niece, your granddaughter, your goddaughter come home and tell you that she's the victim. And then the whole story, whole conversation changes.
Stuff is always subjective. People are always subjective.
Those few people who agree with R. Kelly, I just say check your heart. Because nobody, I don't care what, no child deserves to be taken advantage of by an adult. Not a male child, not a female child.
Agreed.
That's not our lot in life. We are here to guide these kids. Not to take advantage of them. Mm-hmm. And R. Kelly takes advantage of kids.
Absolutely.
And he continues to do it.
Piper.
Right, exactly. That's the other thing. Yeah. He calls himself the Pied Piper.
So why
are you...
I'm just you the man in the room. That's why I'm just asking you.
Why did you take it to you that I wasn't there? I was not there.
So what's your favorite excuse? You said your favorite one. What was the one you heard today?
My favorite one was, hey, y'all remember them grown-ups man pick you up from high school? When you was
I saw that too.
No,
that wasn't me. My mother didn't play that. That wasn't me. But I saw that.
I can admit that I dated older guys. I never dated no 30-year-old when I was in high school, but I did date older guys.
I didn't. I wanted to, but my mom took me to make sure my hymen was intact until I graduated high school.
Well,
so nobody really wanted to go out with me because they didn't want to deal with my mother. Yeah, she didn't play, so no, I never. And plus, as a child, I remember my grandmother be in church with a 22 in her breast because I was a kid, 8, 9, 10, little old gun, and I was like a kid. I'm 8, 9, 10 years old, but I had a big butt, and the grown men.
Can I lie?
I have. Probably will again. But no, but the grown men, the things that they used to say and they used to be
I'm trying to picture making sure you hugging grandma real carefully like.
My grandma didn't play.
Those don't have the right to take advantage of a child.
Exactly. They do not.
They don't.
They do not. And thank God when I went through this, I'm 54 years old. When I went through this, wasn't no internet and cell phone coverage and all that foolishness. By the grace of God, because I just shudder to think how many of them grown men would have been taking pictures of my ass like perverts. The things that they were saying was enough to make my grandmother have to go to church with the 22 in her bra because she was like, the minute one of them touch you, we're going to have this service at the same day.
The sermon going to be
she wasn't playing.
Gonna be the eulogy. It's gonna just
she was like, we having this service the same day, Trisha. I'm not playing. And she wasn't playing. So I don't care how attractive a grown man might find a kid. You have to say no.
Back at church, though?
At church. That's what the worst one.
I'm about to say, the worst. You know. Come on.
Do I know?
You do know.
I don't
you went to Catholic school. You know.
And I went to Catholic school, too.
Just for high school.
It don't matter.
You went to Catholic school. For only 3 years. Because
it don't matter.
It
don't matter.
I don't know about
you
that.
know.
I don't know the rules.
But, yeah. And that's what, honestly.
Well, she put me in that, woman.
That's probably what's the most frustrating with this whole situation. Because that is why R.Kelly has gotten away with it for so long, is because people continue to make excuses for him and find reasons. And you know what pisses me? And it's the same thing with the Bill Cosby stuff.
How has nobody not punched him in the face by now?
How has a record label not dropped his ass by now? But he makes them too much money, so they won't.
Well, I don't think, does he have a record label right now?
I do not know. My question was more physical. The business
about why he ain't got
how he's not getting punched in the face?
Because a lot of these girls don't have daddies
and brothers and families.
There gotta be a crazy uncle or something. Nothing.
I don't know.
Nobody.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
But what I'm gonna say though is this though for
and
me,
how much money has he spent paying people off behind the scene? Unfortunately, the power of a dollar is long and far.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Woo.
But one of the things that pisses me off the most,
please, explain.
Well, the defense, the excuse making, and this is the other one. Well, I just can't. I can separate the man from the music. Bitch, what?
But the girls even explained the music in the second part. Each song got a story behind it. And each song, and when you think
Not
about
Alone was about the girl,
the Latino
girl who she got pregnant and she had a miscarriage. He wasn't there. Didn't she say she almost committed suicide or something? And he wrote the song "You Are Not Alone"
that Michael Jackson recorded.
That was the song he wrote for her.
They said
number.
They said every song he wrote, and when you start listening to the lyrics, you're like, wow, he talking about little girls.
Slim, look at it.
I mean, and today somebody broke it down on Facebook, and they took a lot of songs and they just listed them, and they took out the verses where they specifically talked about underage girls, and I was like, wow, we've just done bad across the board.
I want to know too, but where's the boys from the neighborhood that would have whooped him up?
Okay.
like they would in prison. Like,
I
don't
know.
But they talked about how he did a good job of separating them from everybody. So
that's what abusers do.
That's what they do. That's the first thing they do. They get control and they separate
his wife
you.
said that he would change her fucking cell phone number
without her
knowing it.
She didn't even know she was getting married the day she got married.
Right. He didn't. Right.
She didn't even know she was getting married.
He flew her to Colorado and had everything set up. She
didn't even have on a wedding dress. She said,
or the dress that she would have. Right. Yeah.
She said she didn't even have on a wedding dress.
How was that a wedding?
It was his wedding. It was her captor's wedding.
And she said yes. Because she was in love. At that point, he was still.
She was in love.
That honeymoon phase, he was still the honeymoon because she
said during the honeymoon phase is when he was R.Kelly.
Yeah, and she
after the honeymoon is when he was Robert.
Right, when he let down his guard and he admitted to her he couldn't read and
asked her to help him
read and write, learn how to read and write better. And I mean, he can read, but not very good, very remedial.
Yeah.
And she said that even the day of the wedding, in her mind, she said. She said he didn't even, or at least what she was thinking at that time was, he doesn't even realize that he's crossed the line from romantic to controlling. And she said the way she took it as, oh, he's so romantic. He did all of this for me, blah, blah, blah. But that's that honeymoon period. And unfortunately, the more money someone has as an abuser, the more they can play up that whole honeymoon period because he can fly her out on a private jet to a private wedding that he's done everything for and made all the arrangements. They said when he proposed, he got the banner on a plane and had the guy parachute. Will you marry me? And had the guy parachute out the plane with the ring. Like all of that. Who wouldn't? That's that Harlequin romance
be like,
shit.
oh my God,
he loves yes, me. I'll marry you. And then you excuse or you.
That's what I'm looking for, but only if
long as
it's God ordained. If God ain't got nothing to do with it, I don't want that man.
But what I'm saying is, but that's what I'm saying. But we all, and again, as a young, because remember, he met his wife when she was 19.
Yeah, she was 19.
So again, as a young woman, who wouldn't be swept away by that? Now, by the time the cracks start showing, then and she said that it's kind of like when
we're gonna see a lot more tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of like
they didn't get too deep into her last. Was it last night? I can't even remember no more.
Yeah, last night.
But tonight, I think that we're gonna get a lot more.
But it's kind of like,
and
she said she likened it to a drug abuser who you get that first high, and then for the rest of your life, you're
trying to catch that high again.
That high. It's the same thing with her. She said once he started showing himself to be the abuser and the control freak, she spent the rest of her time trying to get him to go back to being the person she fell in love with. And so that's that cycle of abuse. That's why women stay. That's why women go back, because it's manipulation. I hate to use
Cardi B.
Right. Or, you saw it in Love's Got to Do with it. What Ike would beat her ass this show with a person. Yeah. That's that cycle of abuse. And again, the more money you have...
What's Love got to do with it?
The more money you have, the easier it is to play that game, because you can throw money at it.
I had a point on that.
I'm sorry.
trying to remember what it was.
We're going to wrap it up in about 6 minutes. So
I'm trying to remember what it was. Because it was like I said, I was tempted. And bullied, all that other foolishness. But it was like, I would never do it to anybody else.
You would never do it to anybody else, you said?
You know what I'm saying? The cycle. Like you're saying, the cycle.
Right. But everybody that was abused doesn't become an abuser. But it's just...
I'm just saying, because in my mind...
Most people who were abusers were
abused. In my mind, that makes you a bigger piece of shit, because you know how fucked up it is.
People say most people, but I've actually done a little bit of research on this.
Else?
Most abusers do not abuse. Let's be clear. Most.
No.
But people. No, I'm just saying because Crystal just said most, and that's why I'm clarifying.
What I said was most abusers were abused. I'm not saying that most people who were abused go out. I'm saying, but if you are an abuser and they
most
go
likely,
back,
you're right. Most likely, there's some abuse in your past.
So I'm sorry. Finish your point. I apologize.
So it was kind of like all the what y'all was saying, all the defense of R.Kelly, the excuses, blame the victims, and all of that. But it was like, but wait, Cole was an adult. And even though all that stuff that came out about him that y'all was saying before this, and all that he went through, I'm like, well, he knows how fucked up it is. So to make him twice as worse, as everybody else is trying to get. That makes him twice as worse because he knows.
And that's why it's not an excuse. That's why it's not an excuse to do it.
And sadly, in his mind, because I don't believe that R. Kelly has gotten.
As bad as everybody wants to say, what were the parents? Fast as girls or whatever, but this dude knows how fucked up it is. And
did you see the interview he did where he talked about how he was in love with his mom? He asked her to marry him, and she told him no.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I watched that today. I watched that when I was Googling.
Well, we definitely know that when his mother died, that fucked him up. Like, we know that.
But to me, again, not making feeling like, oh my God, was he in love with his mom as a young boy?
You know, the Oedipus complex is real.
It seemed like that would make you want older women than if you were in love with your mom.
That's true. When the last time you looked at a porn site?
What?
Me personally? Yeah. When was the last time I looked at one?
Yeah.
Last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
Last year was like a week ago.
You just said when was the last
right,
time?
I'm about to say, don't be calling her out for that. She said, she answered your question, motherfucker. Right. Now, what's your point? What's your point?
Is, if you looked at it, it's a lot of
those fantasies,
shit. Yeah. Mama son shit.
Father's daughter, nurse, like that. But see, I can't look at that.
None. If I would see, that's just it. If you look at it in this docu-series, though, they talk about him making the movies and looking at those movies. Yeah. They don't talk about him looking at porn.
He got mad at the girl because she was crying.
Because she was crying. He was like, I can't look at this. You crying.
You fucked it up.
Like, so that's the difference. He's not looking at it. He's making his own porn and looking at it.
Just saying, this shit's not right either way around.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
He's not right. And people that support him, all I can say is have that same mindset if and when it happens to some female that you love. Have that same mindset.
The part of the anger, that's a normalcy of it.
I think my anger is because it's been me, and it's hard to separate it. It really is hard to separate it.
If it's a staple in porn, it's a staple in society. That's how I feel about everything.
So art imitating life.
Yeah. Like, it's a staple in porn, it's a staple in society.
Well,
that's all I'm saying. I've seen it progress.
Well, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I mean, again, but that's why. See, well, I ain't gonna. We could go. That could be a whole nother.
We talk for this for hours.
I'm about to say porn could be a whole nother conversation about the whole fantasy versus all that. Okay. Well, I want to say this for the people that joined us. I want to thank you, ladies, you guys for coming through. I want to thank everybody's input into the conversation. I want to thank you guys for coming through on your Friday night on your way to wherever you going next. And
I know idea where I'm going. But get in the car, though.
To hell.
We knew where we were going before we started.
I'm getting in the car. I'm
about to say, you knew when you...
You're going to put on a bow tie.
Right. Remember, you got a bow tie party to go to.
Okay. So, look. I forgot all about that. I'm put a bow tie on.
Let me find out.
But I still don't know where I'm
you don't know where the party is.
Yeah, you didn't know when we started where you were going.
Yeah, you didn't know where the party was when we started, so... You just knew you had a bow tie to put on.
I just knew I had to do some shit after this.
Gotta put a bow tie on.
All right. Don't forget that tonight, part 2, part 3 and part 4 come on tonight, and then part 5 and part 6 come on tomorrow. I guess Lifetime was like, we ain't dragging this shit out.
I like the fact that they stood their guns, though.
So we're not doing In the Closet series?
Look, but wait a minute. I like the fact that Lifetime stood their ground, because his attorneys, no, they sent the cease and desist letter. Lifetime was like,
Lifetime, I'm sure,
do what you need. That's what Lifetime said. They said in their statement. They were like, we thoroughly investigated this story before we did the movie. Yeah, and the movie will be shown as scheduled.
Because remember, there was a bomb threat. We're not afraid of any the premiere party, there was a bomb threat. And they had to cancel the premiere party. Yeah.
Nigga.
Somebody that like R.Kelly.
Right. They said it came from a 312 number, which is a
Chicago number.
I will be uploading, so this will be posted. Also, we have a Face and Don Juan Pablo review of Bird Box. That's going to be uploaded. And then we're gonna do that's. I'm apologize ahead of time, but thank you guys for coming through, and I hope everybody have a great weekend. Be safe, be good, and I will see y'all on the other side. Peace.
Night night.